Juala, SS15. SS15 Juala. Just a quick recap while I open Juala. Juala is a specific type of contract where the Ja'il, the one who gives the fee, is similar to Ijara in the sense that some sort of tasks or not tasks, rather I would say some sort of outcomes are expected and a fee is paid. So from that point of view, since there is a fee paid, we can see some similarity with Ijara. But the difference is in Ijara, we can define what is the work that must be done by the amil, by the worker, by the labor, by the employee. But in Ju'ala, we cannot define the work. We can define the outcome of the work. For example, we can say whoever can extract, X amount of petrol, oil, or X amount of gold, silver, whatever, from under the mud, under the ground, or any other such task, or maybe whoever can recover the debts, the liabilities that the clients owe to us, they will get X percentage of the amount. They will get a lump sum. So that lump sum or that X percentage is similar to ujra, similar to fee. But the thing is, we cannot define the work. So the work may be 1 hour, it could be 100 hours. We only pay when the outcome has been achieved. So that's the difference between Ju'ala and Ijara. All right, so the question is about it's clause number 4. Let's go to clause number 4. Okay, the clause number 4 is about Sharia status of Ju'ala. Okay, let me read the question. What does it mean if the worker undertakes not to revoke the contract during a specified period? How does it become binding on the worker? Okay, so then he puts the entire clause. Okay, let's read the clause. So in this subsection of the standard, the objective is just to mention the Sharia status of Ju'ala. What it is saying is that with due consideration to item 6 below in respect to the revocation of Ju'ala, Ju'ala in principle is not a binding contract. So this is first thing. Ju'ala in principle is not a binding contract, because remember, as I mentioned, in Ju'ala it is not necessary that I have a contract with one employee or one worker or one labor. Rather, it could be an open invitation. So whoever can achieve the outcome, he will get the fee or the reward. So the general offerer, the offerer is called Ja'il, and the worker, Amil, are entitled to revoke it unilaterally. So in general, both can revoke the contract unilaterally. However, it becomes binding for the Ja'il when the worker commences work. So if someone starts working based on the announcement, let's say the Ja'il, the one who offers, he gave an announcement that whoever can get this outcome, I will pay X amount or X percentage. In general, it's not binding, but if someone starts working based on that, then it becomes binding. Why? The reason, the rationale behind is to do justice with him, because he already started working based on that offer. Now, if we say that the offerer can just revoke, then he will be in loss. He has put his efforts, maybe he has made some investments, etc., etc. Okay, now if the worker undertakes not to revoke the contract during a specified period, it is binding on him to abide by the undertaking. So on the Ja'il, it is binding when the worker starts working for it. On the worker, it is binding if he makes an undertaking, he makes a promise that I promise or I undertake that I will not revoke the contract unilaterally until I finish, or maybe within the specified period. So in that case, it will be binding on him as well. Okay, now let's go back to the question that the questioner asked. He said, what does it mean if the worker undertakes not to revoke the contract during a specified period? How does it become binding on the worker? Okay, I believe it is already answered. For the worker, if he undertakes that he will not revoke, so it becomes binding. Now, how it becomes binding? What does it mean? What is the implication? The implication is that if, let's say, after putting this undertaking, he has already commenced the work, and the next day he says, sorry, I cannot work. Now, there is a hadith where Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim. The Muslims abide by the conditions that they put. Then there are verses also. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, the very first verse, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu awfu bil uqud. O believers, fulfill your contracts, fulfill your agreements. Now, even though this is not an agreement, right? But still, since he made a wa'd, since he made a promise, and now if he revokes unilaterally, even after making this wa'd, this may be an injustice to the jail. Maybe he thought that, okay, this worker is already working for me, so he is no longer looking for anyone else. And suddenly, this worker says, no, sorry, I cannot work. So that will be an injustice. So what is the way around? Can he? I mean, is he bound to just work no matter what? No, he can still negotiate with the jail. What it means is that he cannot revoke unilaterally, but of course, with mutual consent, any contract at any stage can be revoked, because with mutual consent, both parties consent in a point that Sharia will consider it as a just, as a fair. So no issue, no zulum, no oppression, nothing. So that is also fine, no issue. I hope you got the answer.
This session was brought to you by TAIF and Adl. If you have benefited from it, please share in your social media platforms about both the entities and share the word. Spread the word. Jazakumullah khairan.